Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Raihan Nurafifa from English Literature Semester 5, and here I will explain about my text for final exam. That is about the grammatical functions. The grammatical functions is the same technique role played by a word or phrase in the context of particular clause or sentence, sometimes called simply functions in English. Grammatical functions is primarily determined by a word positions in a sentence, not by inflections or word ending. Two sets of concepts here of the relationship between the verb in a clause and its complements. That's the number one is the set of grammatical functions. That is subject, direct object, indirect object or second object, and the last object object. For the number two is the set of rules like agents, patients, instruments, and such. For the first, we will talking about the subject. Okay, subject is a complex grammatical functions. It has some characteristics. The subject precedes the verb in declarative statement. For the example, the boys built house. And the number two is agree in the number with the verb. And the number three, it is compulsory in English structures. And for the number four, it goes after the prepositions by in passive constructions. For the example, houses are built by man. Okay. For the last is single word, phrase and clause make appear in subject positions. For example, it is like we like this book. Peter live next doors. Okay. For the next and for criteria to identify the subject, divide into three parts. That is synthetic criterions. Synthetic criterions is the subject control the occurrence of reflective and tag questions. For example, Mike bought himself a computer. For the second is morpho or synthetic criterions. Is the subject is in the nominative case and Mike is in the nominative case. And the third is semantic criterions. Semantic criterions is like subject refer to entities that exist independently of the actions or state of the verb and might exist independently. And for the next is about type of subject. Type of subject divided into three parts. That is a grammatical subject. For example, Martha baked a cake. Okay, Martha. This is used the grammatical subject because it has all the characteristics already mentioned. And it is also the agent performing the actions. And then for the next type of subject is logical subject. For example, is a cake was baked by Martha. A cake was baked by Martha. Martha is the logical subject because it performed the actions. Okay, and for the last of type of the subject is psychological subject. It is the them, the entity we are talking about. So the next is object. The object divided into three parts again. That is, for the number one is the direct object. In active declarative clauses, the direct object happens after the main verb. For example, Martha baked a cake. Cake in this sentence is direct object, but correspond to the grammatical subject in passive constructions. For example, a cake was baked by Martha. A cake in this sentence is grammatical subject. Direct object typically refer to patients. Example, he broke the window. The window is patience. Why? Because this is affected by the actions of the verb. And for the last is indirect object and obligate object. Obligate object, it refers to the noun phrase that happens after a preposition. For example, she wrote a message to Sam. Sam is the obligate object. And for the next is indirect object. Indirect object is the entity that benefits from the actions of the verb. For example, she wrote Sam a message. And same is the direct object. Okay, that's all for me. Forgive me if I make a mistake in this material. And thank you for all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.